And so you can see in this section right down here, this seems to be okay, but then as you move over further, you probably can't get it from the camera because it's 2x4, it gets bluer and bluer as we come up. So something isn't consistent about that. And so there was times that it seemed like it was okay, and then other times it wasn't. The lighting in here isn't the best in the world. We've got natural lighting, but then we've also got this light. And so I was thinking maybe it's the shadows or something like that that's making me see it a little different than what it really is. At times, whenever I was testing, like they recommend that you do, it would be blue, but then it would turn green for a little while. And I think, okay, well, it seems to be okay. And then I'd get over here and get started, and then it would just start messing up again. And as you can tell through here, there would be sections like this one here seems to be okay. This next section over here doesn't seem to be okay. And then all of a sudden you just get something like that. Well, of course, it didn't look like that whenever you first sprayed it, but as it sits there and it's supposed to dry or harden, then it goes to that because there's not enough of the other that comes in. And what the company says is if you continue having trouble like that, to give them a call and they'll give you some tips. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other gun and see if that solves the problem. And if it is, then there's just something wrong with that gun. And if it's not, then it's something wrong with the tank, then I'm just going to have to call the company and see if they'll send me another tank. Is there anything else you...
No, so now you're going to scrape it out because you have to try it again.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't no good, so even this section here that seems good, you look at the top, there's a huge crack up there, so underneath it's really blue. In other words, there was some of the yellow stuff that was in there, but not enough to cure it as much as it should, and so it just means that it's bad. If you're lucky, it looks like this. If you're not lucky, it looks blue underneath, and it's a big mess. You just scrape off as much of it as you can. Wow, that's kind of like Play-Doh.
How long has this been up? When did you
At least
spray
an
this?
hour. At least an hour, because I was just going to leave it and try something else.
So normally, if it would have mixed well, then you wouldn't be able to get it off, right?
Well, you'd have to scrape it. That's only been up there about an hour, 2 hours max, and you already see it caving, all that kind of stuff. You look at these others, there's none of that. You know, they look a lot better in a uniform, but this is all just dissolving because it doesn't have the proper mixture. And I assume that there's a range of what the proper mixture is. It doesn't have to be probably exactly 50-50 of each, but it needs to be something so close to that, so that way it mixes all right. And over here, it was a fresh tank. Both of the tanks were full, and there just isn't something right about that one tank. Or it's, you know, the gun. There could possibly be something wrong with the gun. And so, like I said, I'm going to switch the tanks. I'm going to switch the guns from one that I do know that works right to the set of tanks I started using this morning and see if that fixes the problem.
Okay.
I'm just rolling this out like a mat. Now, some of this is starting to get gooier. That's what's funny, is there seem to be enough of the chemicals to make it into something like a mat, rubber mat, but then in other places there's not. Because you do something like this, you spend that much money, you just want it to work, you know. They'll have a piece right here next to it, and of course how I do it is I usually go around the edges then come back. So it just seems like it was just really inconsistent. And once in a while it'd be okay, and other times it would be more of a gummy kind of mat, like what I'm pulling here. The outside seems to be okay, the outside edge. It's right next to the 2x4, but then everything inside is this gummy, kind of rubbery material kind of stuff. This right here, it seems to be okay. That's kind of weird.
And this is not the first time you've tried this stuff. You've already completed one house, a small 14 by 24, and half of this house, which is a total of 14 by 40,
Yeah.
So this is not like your very first try. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. That's the reason I want to pull this out, even though it looks okay. I just don't know how well it would insulate. I'd rather just respray it than just figure that it's going to insulate well. So if it's going to insulate well, then why have the blue stuff with it? You know, why don't the company just have the yellow and forget about it? But maybe there's enough combination of both of them in this that it does okay. But I don't know. I'll just a couple panels, so I'd rather just respray it. Just pull it out and respray it. It's just really white. That's whiter than what I'm used to seeing. Usually has a green tint to it. See that green tint?
Yes. That's how it's supposed to be?
Yeah. I'm not sure this is right. The first little bit seemed harder, but then right there in the middle, that seems okay. That doesn't. See, look at how close that is. I mean, I do that and just, that along the edge seems okay, but then that right there in the middle doesn't. And my technique is very similar.
It is.
I'm standing about the same distance away. Now, I will admit my speed is probably a little bit fast from time to time, or, you know, I change speeds a little bit or whatever, but that should mostly deal with the amount that's being put on there and having to come back and do a second trip versus it being gummy like that. Look how, you know, this is green, and when we put it on, it seemed a little bit discolored to me, but you know, whenever you're in a place where you're doing stuff like this, the lighting is okay, but it's not the best in the world. So sometimes you just think, okay, maybe it's the lighting. Maybe I'm just looking at it slightly different. Some of this other stuff, you know, it seemed like it was okay, but then once it starts drying, it's...
And I can see down here that it's not expanding as much as the other, and that one too. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that just, well, I think what it is, it just isn't mixing right. It still isn't mixing right. But it's not consistently not mixing right, because like you'll get places to where it seems to be okay, where it's green, you know, and it's put on and it looks green. And there's other places to where, you know, it's green, but then it looks soggy like this, you know. It's
Yeah.
all
Well,
right.
we'll give them a call. They might be closed now until Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll check back in later.
Bye.